Okay, the Mandela effect. This is the theory of string theory, right? Every point in your life in quantum physics, when there's a decision made, there's like a fork in the road. If you decide to scratch your head during an itch, it itches. If you wait 1 second longer, there's a person of you in reality that scratched it at that moment, another person that waited a second. Every decision creates a fork in the road, like that. But at a point, every point in time, there's a fork in the road being created. So that's when the reality it goes into a certain direction. Now they can't go back in time because here's how it works. This is say one thing for one example. For example, say the Kennedy assassination. That one bothers me a lot. There's 6 people in the car now. I remember 4. A lot of people remember 4. Okay, just 6 people being in the car. If 6 people in the car, they decided to put 6 people in the car, that decision went that way. The 4 people in the car, the decision went that way. Every decision you make creates a new reality. So they can't go back in the past where the decision's been made. This is 4. We're going to say 4 people. And here we're going to say 6 people in the car. Okay? They can't go back in reality and change your reality because the 4 people in the car already happened. So they can't go back and change it. If they were to go back in time and change it, all it would do is cause another line. See what I'm saying? If they were to go back in the past and change it, it would cause another line to come off of that decision. That other line is still in existence. They can't change what that decision made on that point of time. They can only make a new one. So in other words, if the reality we're in now, a lot of us remember 4 people being in the car. And now there's 6. So that reality that we're on is gone. It's no more. It's there, but we're not there. We have traveled to a new reality. Do you see what I'm saying? In Sliders, he's going on that TV show Sliders. He's going around Earth to Earth trying to find home, because everywhere he goes, it's slightly different. That is explaining to you how it works. So I want you to know they did not go in the past and change history, and even if they did, that doesn't matter. You are now on a new Earth, in a new reality, in a new parallel universe. That's exactly what it means. They can't go back and change the past. Everything that's decided is a part of that line. They could go back at that point. If they could even travel back and change it, that point still happened. So they could only go back if they're able to time travel back. Then that line would start from that point, but the other line would still be there. I don't know if you know what I mean. There's all these lines that are coming from this one point that we don't see. Endless amounts of points. So if they were to go back and change it, all they would do is hop onto a line that's already there. I don't know if you catch what I'm saying. We're not on the same Earth, and we're not in the same universe. We're in a parallel universe. That other reality that we know happened. We have memories of it, which means it physically happened, which means you can't alter it. It's done. And when things I think they say there's 7, but there's at least 3 that are exactly the same realities. Where everything is exactly the same. And there's a membrane. Let's just say 3. I think there's 7, but let's just say there's 3. We're on a membrane. So the three are the closest together of exactly what happened. Once you start going further away, it slightly alters. There's a place now where there's a scar on your face, but everything else is the same. There's a scar on your face, it's the same. Scar on the face, it's the same. Scar on your face, and there's something slightly different there now too, like you have a cat. But you get further and further away from the original universe you're from. In other words, even the body you're in is a different body. Everything is different except for your conscious, your memory. In other words, your memory is the only thing that doesn't belong here. You don't physically move because in string theory, it's like this. This object, every angle is the experience, example, right? So when you see this object, this is one experience, but a different angle, it looks like a whole new object, right? But it's the same object, but now that's a different experience. Same object, different experience. Again, same object, different experience. But the point is that even though it's the same object, physically, this piece here is different, is a different physical piece than this piece here. Yet they're attached. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's one piece, but you're only getting a piece in your experience. That's a different experience, and that's a different angle, different experience. But even though it's one piece connected, it's still your reality is physically, I believe it's 7. Let's just say it's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's all these different points. 7, right? 7 different points. Let's say there's 7 different points. So it's one thing in string theory that makes up one person, right? But it's different angles. Excuse me. Sorry about that. There's different angles. So, example, different angles. So, in your life, you're only experiencing one of the angles. Your life from born to death, it's one angle. That's what you're seeing as the one angle. Even though you're connected to all these different angles physically, you're only experiencing this one physical angle. Yet, you're connected to this other and this other. But once you transfer over here, it's a different experience, a different angle. So physically, you're still the same. You're connected, physically the same. You're connected, but you're physically different. As a whole, it's one. See, but the piece of this might be a bad example, but the piece of this magnifying glass, right? From the experience. Pretend this is an experience. That's an experience, and that's an experience. First experience is this side of this is definitely the wrong thing to use. This magnifying glass is one experience. It's connected to the other side of the magnifying glass, but you're only getting this part of the magnifying glass. The other side of the magnifying glass is physically different. If you were to split this in half, right down the middle, I don't know if that's a great example, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. This magnifying glass is one piece. But in our life, we only get, in string theory, you only get one angle at a time that your experience is on. So, the circle is one piece. So you're only right here at one time. All these other physical parts that's connected to it, you're not there. You're only in this one spot. You're physically connected, but you can't see it. You can't live it. You can't feel it because it's in a different angle. However, if you parallel shift, it's still you. You're connected to it, but now you physically have changed. It's like if you can get anything physical, this piece of paper is one piece of paper. But if you're only on one corner of the paper, if you're only on one corner of the paper, then the other corners you don't physically occupy it. Though you do because you're connected to it. But you physically are experiencing the one corner. So you're just the one corner that's connected to it. If you move to the other corner mentally, See, if you're physically that one corner, and as soon as you branch off physically, that's not you anymore, then that other corner is physically something different. If I rip it a piece, you'll see what I'm saying. Now this corner is ripped apart. That's the experience that you were experiencing. You were only that one corner, though you connect to the rest of the paper. So really you're one, you're whole. But you're not whole on the plane you're on. But once that corner is wiped away and you're on the other corner now, you're mentally there because you were physically connected but you weren't able to see it. But now you're on the other corner, but physically the other physical part is completely gone. In other words, you were connected to this physically in a realm you don't see by the membrane. But here that everything has changed, you physically weren't here before. This is a new earth. If you watch Sliders, you'll see how it's explained. It's a new earth, a new parallel universe. The only thing that has transferred over is your consciousness, your memory. You did not bring this physical body here. This physical body is already here. It's connected to your body in a dimension that you can't see. If you understand that, then you'll get what I'm saying. But that's what happened with the Mandela effect. They can't change the past, because once they do, it creates a new reality. So you're saying they went back in our timeline and changed the past. It doesn't matter, because they would already branch off. If they were to do that, they would end up, if they went back in time and changed something, and then they stayed there and lived it out, they would be in a parallel universe, because that moment of decision would have changed the direction that universe went. So you wouldn't even see them anyways. In other words, it wasn't that they went back in time and changed anything. We are on a new timeline, a new parallel dimension. Every decision you make, I hope you're getting this, every decision, it creates a new reality. So if they were to go back in time, it would change anything in time, it would still create a new reality. That other reality still exists. They can't alter that one. They can go back in time and change something. All they can do is create a new line. So if the past has changed, you're not on this line anymore. You're on a new line. So they didn't go back and change anything. That doesn't matter, because you're on a new line altogether. So it wasn't them changing anything that has changed. It's that we have jumped to a new line. Whether someone changed it or not, we also jumped. That's two separate things. Because if they go back in time and try and change this line, all it would do is create a new line of decision, which will go like that. That by changing the past, it just creates a new line of decision. That doesn't change anything on this line. So it's not that they changed anything; it's that we have jumped to a parallel universe. We are physically connected to it in a dimension that we don't see. But the physical part that you're seeing of you is completely gone. The part that we don't see is the connection part that makes us one with ourselves. It's infinite amount of parallel universes. There's infinite amounts of you. There's trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of versions of you. Trillions of them. You occupy trillions and trillions of endless amounts of different versions of yourself on different versions of Earth. But every time you're in a parallel universe which is different, you're now in a physical different version of yourself that's connected on this membrane that we don't see. Does that make any sense? That's the Mandela effect. That's what's going on. It's the butterfly effect. Don't let the name Mandela confuse you. It's still the butterfly effect. That's string theory. That we are still, because you have a memory of a different place, so somehow that consciousness came to this place. Your consciousness traveled on the membrane and came to this place. You can't physically occupy the same place. So the body that you have, even the body that you have, everything physical is not yours now. You're occupying your body, but from someone else that was you. That's here on this. It's hard to explain. I know what I'm saying, but it's really hard to explain. But I hope you got it. There's infinite amounts of you physically. So if you had jumped to a parallel universe because the past is different, you would see two of you. There'd be another version of you here. If there's not another version of you here in your home, then you didn't physically move anywhere. It was memory that moved. Somehow the membrane, the memories have, and I think it's the protons, because I think the protons are more like angelic, have moved. I don't know if protons are the right word. I don't know what the smallest quantum thing is, but that's what moved. That's what shifted. The smallest thing, which is in everything, in the atom, there's a dwarf, there's a pro-atom, there's a pro-dwarf, whatever. It gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Whatever that energy is that's in the very center of it all is what they're trying to figure out. At CERN, it's the God particle. That's what shifted. So physically nothing shifted, it's that part that shifted. That's the consciousness. That's the part that we don't understand. Yet it's one. I think when it's all over and said, this is my theory, that God's going to put us all back together as one again, and you'll collect all the information from all the parallel universes, and you'll have all the understanding of it all. And hopefully somewhere in there you got saved. Because if you didn't get saved in any of those universes, you're going to be screwed. Thanks for watching. This is, I don't know if this makes any sense, but you can research this more, and then you'll understand what I'm saying. Every decision creates a new reality, and you're linked to all the different parallel universes in string theory. There's trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of you. It goes on forever. It's infinite. And because you're here and you have a different memory, I have a different memory, then the consciousness is the only thing that has transferred. Or you would see two of you in the room. If your physical body had transferred, you would see two of you. But your physical body can't transfer because that's the way it's set up. It's the physical part which is keeping you away from the other physical version of you. The conscious is one membrane, the energy in it. And also, when things change in a parallel universe, the bigger the change, the further you are away from the original universe physically, because it occupies the same space. In quantums, you got relativity, you got the big things and the small things, but yet in the bigger things, you're trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of light years away from the original universe. That's string theory.